doing in the front office, man?
Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this.
Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said.
Her.
Fuck.
Her upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches. What is going on, folks? Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet. This is After Further Review, episode 148. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
And I'm your other wonderful co-host, Malin. And outside of figuring out that I need to figure out what a Fat Boy shirt is, feeling pretty good right now.
Good.
Good deal. Just gonna stick my
And your
finger
other
down my
great
throat in the
co-host, all the way
bathroom.
from Sarasota.
Sarasota.
Sarasota
This
native.
man.
I'm the recurring guest from the Pacific Northwest, G Money.
I like how G Money's made himself regional. He's no longer local,
Right.
no longer city or state.
This is
It's regional. 3 states.
That's right.
Gotta love it.
Big goddamn deal.
Right.
That is.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you all again for all of us getting together another Wednesday. Us making it happen. I say we take a nice cheers to start off the show the right way.
Cheers, gentlemen.
All right. So if you are not aware, we do live stream the show every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do this on YouTube. So if you click the first link down in your podcast description, you will be taken to the most recent episode, the YouTube version, and you can hit subscribe. And that way next Wednesday, you'll be notified when we go live. That way you can watch the show live and weigh in using the live chat. And then vice versa. If you watch us live and just want to listen to the show, click the first link in the YouTube description to listen on your favorite podcast platform. So there is that. With that out of the way, though, let's get into our first topic of this week, which is our predictions for the AFC North. We've been breaking down every single division of the NFL throughout the last several weeks. So we are on to the North now in the AFC. It's going to be an interesting division. I think right off the bat, this is one of the more competitive, if not the most competitive division. Got a lot of heavy hitters in this division. And so we're going to break down what we think each team is going to finish with at the end of the year as far as wins, losses go. Nestor, we'll start with you if you want to give us your prediction for the Browns. Let's start with the Browns.
I wasn't ready. I'm just kidding. Browns.
I wasn't ready.
First preseason game. I think the Browns. Just kidding. I think
This man.
they're going to go 9-8.
Okay.
And I think week 1 they beat the Bengals. That's my notable win for them. Week 1 is crazy, so I think they will upset the Bengals that first week. After that, I don't have any other notable wins or losses, I believe, so that's about it.
Is that because you think Burrow is not going to play week 1 with his calf
I think
injury?
even if he, I don't think he's going to
even
play,
if he
or if he
plays.
comes back, I don't think he'll be at 100%. So
Okay.
Damn. All right, so 9-8 for the Browns from Nestor. G Money.
So I did this a few weeks back. So I've got them 8-9. And their only quality win comes from week 18 against the Bengals. Other than that, I just don't see them being that great of a team offensively. Defensively, they're pretty solid, and I'm just going to wonder if they're not going to get buyer's remorse with Deshaun Watson.
Fair enough. Malin, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we're just going down one rung at a time. We got him at 9, we got him at 8. I got him at 7 wins for the good old Cleveland Browns. Maybe if they wore those white helmets more than one time, maybe I can get them up to 9 wins
There you
because I
go.
think those helmets are clean.
Right.
I still think it's weird that they're called the Browns and their helmet's orange and we love a white one. But I had, when I did this, Burrow was supposed to be healthy. That was before he came out. There was a sleeve on the calf.
Right.
And then, pulled up like he stepped in dog shit. And then all of a sudden he's got a calf injury. And you got Jamar Chase saying, I don't even want you to come back for week 1. I'm like, first of all, man, shut up. Like, what are you doing? So I do have the Bengals beating the Browns in week 1. I have the Steelers beating the Browns in week 2. I got the Ravens, or I got them beating the Tennessee Titans, but I got the Ravens beating them in week 4. I have them going 1-5 in the division. And the main reason why I have them going 1-5 in the division is that I do believe, like G Money just suggested, that they're going to have buyer's remorse with Deshaun Watson. Part of me wonders if Deshaun Watson is going to suffer the same type of fate that Le'Veon Bell did. You're going to be out of the league for over a year. You're going to come back, and we're just going to expect you to be that all-pro player.
Right.
And he certainly did not seem that way last year down the stretch. Now, maybe with an off-season, OTAs, training camp, preseason, stuff like that, maybe he could be better.
Right.
But we're a few years removed of him bringing that Houston squad to the playoffs.
Right.
With Deshaun or Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins being his big wideout. So who's he throwing to?
Right.
You got Chubb. That defense is still there, but that defense is another year older. To me, the Browns are in danger of blowing a great defense the same way I believe that the 49ers are going to blow a great defense, to where you can't put all the tools together on offense to propel you forward. So I got them going 7-10.
You hit the nail on the head with us just moving that notch down. Got him at 6-11.
Like money.
We're just that's just how it goes. Notable wins here. I don't really have. Well, this is obviously not me to pick from in the first place. Yeah, I think that if Burrow is not there week 1, maybe they could steal a game. So I mean, I wouldn't be too shocked if they're at 7 to finish the year with. But if he does start, I mean, I don't really give him a shot. I do have him beating the Steelers at home in week 11 and beating the Jaguars and the Bears. And I also do have them beating the Ravens once. So, yeah. And the Titans. I think that's the 6th win. So
They're just an unremarkable team.
yeah.
They're average.
Yeah, they
Which
are
is better than what they were.
for a long time.
I mean, Hugh Jackson was taking ice baths in like the Ohio or
Yeah.
some river in Cleveland. It's probably radioactive because of all the dumping they've done in that fucking cesspool of a city. Jesus.
I mean,
That's pretty
nobody
bad.
wants to live in Cleveland. Not
Nobody
even
does.
LeBron.
Should've-
Not at all.
Oppenheimer should have tested the A-bomb on Cleveland before we went to
What
That's
makes you think he
decisive
didn't?
point. He might have. Looks pretty goddamn desolate.
That's
But
why.
anyway, it's a lot better than Hugh Jackson being like, I'm going to jump in this river if we don't win a game. And guess what,
Yeah.
bitch? You didn't win a game, so hop on in. So, and then you went from Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
How do you not learn your fucking lesson? Oh,
Very strange in
Oh, my
Cleveland.
God.
Let's move on to the Steelers. Nestor, go ahead. I was going to say something. I'll just refrain my comments. Go ahead, Nestor.
I tried. I think they're gonna go
Dang.
8-9.
Oh, he actually tried.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're gonna. This is gonna put an end to Tomlin's famous little winning record.
It's a little like
Since-
it's not actually good.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive. It's almost 20 years. It's like
I know.
It is the
That looked great.
ongoing like
Yeah.
shtick of like,
like what 18 years no
right.
losing,
Yeah.
17 something.
Go
Pretty
ahead.
good. Go ahead. No. Little.
no notable wins. I mean, there's nothing really special here, but yeah, 8-9. I feel like Najee's gonna have a good season. It's he's gonna be their saving grace from like a worse record. So I think Najee's gonna do good. But they're just gonna, I feel, drag some problems from last season. So 8-9 for me.
All right. G Money.
I've got them going 10-7. I think the offense is going to be better this year, and we already know the defense is decent, especially with Watt. So big wins. I have them towards the end of the season, and week 16 beating Cincinnati. I think that's pretty much. Well, I got them beating Baltimore in week 5, but other than that, there's no big, wins you look at, no signature wins, right? Nothing that you look at and go, man, these guys are there. Because the rest of the people that they beat either had losing records last year or have quarterback, offensive line issues that they haven't fixed this year.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Any notable wins on your schedule?
Wow. You said they beat the Ravens in week 5, I think.
That was the
And
highlight.
Cincinnati in week 16.
Oh, and Cincinnati.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Some nice divisional wins. Malin, what have you got?
All right, so I'm gonna snap back to reality here for a second. No, I'm not a believer in Pickett. He didn't show me anything last year. I love I love coming up with nicknames, people small hands Pickett. He was definitely a playmaker at Pitt. But the offense with the offensive line is terrible. It just seems lost. And Najee Harris gets hurt every single year. I know this because I draft him every single year.
Well, last year was only his second year.
So yeah, 2 years in a row he's missed like 5 or 6 games.
I had him his rookie year. He was great for me.
Yeah, until the elbow.
Yeah, and then, whenever that was, I think that
I
was.
mean,
near the end of the year.
he's going to end up being, in my opinion, a little bit better than Trent Richardson. He's going to get you
He's got to be a
1,000.
lot better than Trent Richardson.
He's going to get you 1,000 yards your first year, and then he's going to be okay the second year, but then he's just going to start falling off. I think injuries are going to get the best of him. I think they're running these bell cow running backs that you're drafting early in the first rounds. I think they're running them ragged in college, and I think they have less carries in the NFL. And I think that it's like, in my opinion, like 2 or 3 out of 10 running backs who are taken in the first round actually end up doing something like long term, like the Derrick Henrys, who's now getting hurt
right
all the time. Okay, when was the last time we had an Adrian Peterson back? It was just running rampant for forever in the league.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
They just don't hold up.
Yeah.
You got a couple of receivers, Claypool, and G Money
Isn't he
is
gone. Claypool's gone, right?
Oh, is Claypool gone?
Is he in Chicago?
They're both gone, but they've got
Pickens,
who's
and,
really good.
And is it Johnson, the other receiver? I don't really remember, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we know Pickens, and you said Johnson. I think you just made that up because that's like 75% of
I can't
wide
remember
receivers in the NFL is last name Johnson. So anyway, 6-11, and what it really boils down to is I think they're going to end up going like 1-6 against teams that are going to have winning records that they're going to go against. They'll go 500 against teams with losing records, 1-6 against playoff teams. I do have them beating the Ravens in Week 18. I actually have your Patriots beating them in Week 14.
Thank you, sir.
I just think that last year was the start of an inconsistency that I'm not even sure that Tomlin is going to be able to escape. Because I just don't see the consistency there to be able to warrant saying, yeah, you're going to have a winning record.
Right. So you said 6 games, right?
6 games. It's probably on the low side. There might have been a couple forehead jokes in there I was going to throw in if Shaq was here.
Oh, damn.
Maybe if it wasn't Shaq's favorite team, I might have been able to squeeze out 1 or 2 more. But 6 is the best you get.
This George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and Allen Robinson, who I didn't even know.
He's still in the NFL? That's cool. That's cool.
Those are their 3 kind of.
He's got 1 foot out the door. Like Sears got 1 logo on the helmet.
So I've got the Steelers at a good whopping 7 wins, 7-10.
I'm the low man on the totem pole.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm not much different here. I've got them with a little hot start, winning the first 2 games of the season against San Francisco and Cleveland. Only because I think the quarterback situation in San Francisco is going to be a little weird. I think they might put out Trey Lance, and he's going to be a little shaky there. Besides that, they'll beat the teams that they should. But they're going to have a hard time in their division, and they don't have the easiest schedule to begin with. So, yeah, I'm going with 7-10. So, kind of too bad for them, but we'll see.
You said too bad for them.
Let's move on to let's go Cincinnati next.
Too bad Shaq's not here to defend himself.
Right. Nestor, what do you have Cincinnati doing?
I got them at 11-6. Like I said, week 1 they lose to Cleveland, and that's about it. I don't feel like there's many improvements they've made. Right, they haven't really shaken up their roster too much. So, I don't remember what their record was last season. Somebody remember?
Hey, they had 11 wins last year.
Yeah, so about the same. So nothing special.
This man has high hopes. 11 wins ain't special. This man.
Well, nothing different from what we've seen is what I mean.
12-4. Didn't they have to?
Oh, they were 12-4. No, they
game.
What?
Didn't they tie the Monday night game
Against who?
against Buffalo? Because
that one wasn't even recorded, so 12-4 is right. They got 16.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. 16.
They got hosed. They could have had the number
Right.
1 fucking seed.
Right.
Goddamn Hamlin.
It was not a tie. It was
What a
just
bitch.
A game that didn't exist.
What a
Jesus
bitch.
All right. G Money. What a bitch.
Once again, this was before the Burrows, oh my God, my calf is falling off injury. I had them at 13-4. I had them for the first, I had them going 5-1 before their bye week, losing, of course, to Seattle. And then after the bye week, I had them losing to the 49ers. Big wins, Kansas City, Buffalo. The other teams, when you look at them and think about them, they have issues either offensively or defensively. I mean, if you look at Minnesota, you're not quite sure what you're going to get there. They don't have a running. I don't know who their running back is now that they, once they release Delvin Cook. Indianapolis, who's the quarterback? We don't know. And who's the running back? Oh, yeah, we don't know. They beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville's an up-and-coming team, but not there yet. So 13-4.
13-4. Junebug, what's up, man?
Why can you not hear us?
I think you may be on mute, or your mic's just switched to something else.
I think he can hear us. We just can't hear him.
Yeah,
Yep.
it seems to be it.
Give us a. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I can go ahead and go.
Yeah, go ahead. You can keep
Yeah.
trying, Jukebug. Whenever we can hear you, we'll let you know.
So I'm gonna go ahead and agree with G Money at 13-4 this year. Now, again, that was like he said, that's before Burrow out there and was a bitch with a calf. But I mean,
We can hear you now.
literally, like I got them losing to the Niners, Buffalo, one Baltimore, and then I actually do have them losing to Minnesota because I kind of feel like every great team loses one game they should win.
Right.
So I was trying to plan that out when I was doing this whole thing, and I was like, Minnesota's
was
kind of running to the mill. That's
Yeah.
the trap game. They will have beaten the Jaguars and the Colts, and then going to Minnesota, probably overlooking them, want to spank the shit out of the Steelers again. And so I got them going 13-4. Now, if Burrow misses a couple weeks, could they lose 2 divisional games without Burrow? Hell yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
He's
Who's
pretty
your
much.
backup?
Oh,
I have no idea.
No. Jake Browning is the backup for the Cincinnati Bengals right now.
Jake
He's
Browning.
quarterback for the Washington Huskies.
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Led him to the Sugar Bowl, I think it was, against Alabama. At least I know he's competing for the number 2 job. Whether or not he gets it, I don't know. But I don't know who the other person
was
is,
gonna
so
ask
he
that
better
next.
fucking win. Because I don't know who number 3 is right now, or who the other one is.
You might see Jake out there week 1.
Jesus, I don't think that's a good thing though.
Not if you're a Bengals fan.
No, because Jake Browning was all right with Washington, but you saw what
I
happened
think it's
against Alabama.
Trevor Seaman.
Well,
Oh, Trevor Simeon? He says Seaman?
Seaman.
Shit.
I was copying off of what
Man
is
out
it
here
you
think
call
we Pornhub.
the Jacksonville running back. Is it a running back or is it what is it?
Etienne?
Etienne.
oh. You combined some names on that one.
Don't say it. Oh, well, listen, we got Junebug here.
Yeah, Junebug. So just to fill you in case you can't tell, we are breaking down the AFC North right now. We've already been through the Browns, the Steelers. We're on the Bengals right now. So what do you think their final record will be at the end of the year for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Cincinnati Bengals, I got them at 13-4. I believe they're going to be one of the top teams.
All right.
In the AFC again. It's going to be them in Kansas City, and as the top 2 teams, with Buffalo close behind them. So that's what I have.
Gotcha.
All right.
I've got them at 14-3. This was also once again done before Joe Burrow had a bitch-made calf, but it is what
Something,
it
man.
is.
Every damn training camp. This man misses training camp.
Yeah.
Should've known.
I don't know, maybe he needs
by
that.
design.
Right. Maybe he needs it to perform at an elite level or something. I don't know. But the only 3 losses I have from them are week 2 against Baltimore, week 8 against San Francisco, week 11 against Baltimore again.
Okay.
I've got Baltimore just kind of sweeping them. And
owns them, huh?
well, that's it. Yeah, those are the 3 losses right there.
Okay. That's crazy. I got them starting 6-0.
Gotcha. Yeah, that.
Again, that's before the injury.
Right,
The first 2 weeks make me nervous now,
Yeah,
especially that Baltimore one.
yeah. I would really hope he's back by then, but
Browns,
they should be all right either way.
Yeah.
All right, so that puts us to Baltimore next. Nestor, what do you have the Ravens doing?
I got them winning one more game than last season, so 11-6. I think this is their last, hurrah before they decide to shake up their roster a little bit. I don't know what they're gonna do, but notable wins or losses. Week 5, I have them losing against the Steelers. When they go to, is it London that they're going to?
Sure.
I know a few years back they had a really rough experience.
Yeah, they're going to
Going
week 6
overseas.
with Tennessee.
They're gonna beat Tennessee. They're gonna change that. But when they come back, they'll lose to the Detroit. I think Detroit's doing some good things. St. Brown is a beast. So I got them losing to Detroit there. And sorry, Malin, but they're beating the Seahawks at home on week 9.
What a bitch.
About it.
9.
That's okay. I agree.
I was gonna say I have the same.
I can't date. I don't know. They can't go 17-0.
G Money.
I don't know how much we want them to.
Good Lord.
What do you have Baltimore doing, G Money?
I got them going 10-7. Signature wins. Really, late in the season, the Dolphins at home, when they're playing the Dolphins in Baltimore, and that was one of those things I thought Tua probably isn't going to make it through the season. Tua kind of reminds me of Garoppolo, gets injured every season, and that's a problem. I mean, because he could be a really good quarterback, and with all the offense they have around him. But I also think that if Harbaugh doesn't change his game plan and he continues to run Lamar Jackson like he does, that man is going to get injured again. Let the man throw. I mean, I think for the first 3 games last season, he was putting up 300 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. Let him throw. He's not like Michael Vick, where he can't really come off of the first receiver and hit someone else. Give him some receivers and let the man throw, and they could do better than 10-7. But right now, I got him going 10-7.
All right, 10-7. G Money, Malin.
I got them going 12-5 this year. When I look at the breakdown after all the 18 weeks of going through this, I realized that I had them starting off like 10-1. And I was like, well, damn.
Something's not right.
But when I have them going 10-1, that's losing 1 to Cincinnati, beating Cincinnati. But then after that, you're beating the Texans, the Colts, the Browns, the Steelers. Outside of that, it's maybe the Titans or the Lions that could maybe sneak up on you. In the middle of that pack. Like, they got a really easy first 11, 12 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
I think they're going to trip up against the Chargers. I think they'll spank the Rams. And then I have them losing to the Jaguars and the Niners. I do have them beating the Dolphins. I'm sorry. I just don't see the Mammals going up there into Baltimore week 17 without Tua, because it'll already be out 7 weeks.
I agree with you.
But I do have, oddly enough, I got Forehead Browns, Steelers, pulling off an upset of week 18. Just enough to keep the Ravens out of having the number 1 seed in the AFC and giving it to his fierce rival, the Bengals.
Right.
Poetic justice. I love it.
It's very well said.
Did that on purpose.
Junebug, what do you think the Ravens are doing this year?
I got them at 11-6. I think Lamar does make a comeback. I think he does stay healthy this season. But I do see them. I see a couple of trap games. I see them losing to both the Titans and the Lions back-to-back weeks. That's just going to be 2 tough games back to them. But I do see them late in the season beating the 49ers. I see that as Harbaugh going out there and just out coaching. They don't have D'Amico Ryan anymore with San Francisco. So I see Harbaugh just going out there and out coaching the 49ers staff. But I do agree that they will lose to the Steelers the last game of the season. I think that's just a trap game, and so I think that will be a game that they will drop at the end of the season.
Anybody that says the Niners are going to drop a game is a friend of mine, even if they're a Cowboy fan. Kindred spirit.
I have got the Ravens going 13-4.
Okay.
I am really a believer. What G Money was just saying that they need to let Lamar throw. I'm buying into that. I think their offense is gonna be a bit transformed this year and not so focused on him running around. And they've got him some weapons between OBJ. Zay Flowers is looking really good in training camp. That dude is stupid quick. I think that if they just play to those strengths more instead of just the Lamar running strength, it will just make their offense way more dynamic and make them just deadly. More notable losses in this case.
It is important to note that, listen, people, okay, we get it. If Lamar Jackson gets hurt, don't come in here week 9, week 10 holding us to these damn records.
Right.
Okay? Miss me with this because Tyler Huntley and Josh Johnson aren't leading shit above 2 to 3 games. Okay? Tyler Huntley Pro Bowler. Looked like a slightly wet elbow macaroni out there last year. I'm not gonna say it looked like a limp noodle, but he wasn't fully cooked either. It just looked bad. How that man was a Pro Bowler with 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. I don't understand what we're doing. Like, how many people had to say no? I kind of feel like another backup quarterback had to say no before he said yes.
It had to.
For him to have 2 and 3 and be like, yeah, I'm a Pro Bowler.
Right.
This is good.
Well, if you didn't fumble that ball, some will still say that they would have won that playoff game. But
Jesus.
Anyway, I think they'll go 13-4. Again, that is all hinging on Lamar's health, though. So hopefully he stays healthy. It's not an issue at all. But so for I think Nestor, you have the Bengals and the Ravens tying. So who do you think ultimately will win?
Yeah,
Bengals will have the better division record, so
okay.
Got them at 4-2 in their division. So yeah.
So we all have the Bengals winning the division. I'm looking at that right.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, nothing to argue about there. We will kind of revisit this in the second half of the show when we do community comments to see what the folks weighed in on. But yeah, that will do it for our AFC North record predictions. We will move into the news for the week.
Today's top stories and breaking news.
All right, news for the week. Let's start off with, to me, what was the biggest news. Richard Sherman is going to be replacing Shannon Sharp on Undisputed. So he will be sitting across from good old Skip Bayless. And he will be on the show apparently 50 to 100 times a year, as FS1 is trying other co-hosts out as well. What this is sounding like is they're kind of transforming the show into more like First Take, where Skip is Stephen A, and then they have kind of like a revolving door of guests that come through every so often. But it sounds like Richard Sherman is going to be the most frequent on the show. He'll still be on Thursday Night Football doing that from Amazon. So if you were going to miss him there, don't worry about that. He's still there. But yeah, what do you guys think about Sherm popping up on Undisputed?
I think it's funny for 2 reasons. We'll get to the feud that they had way back in the day where Sherman basically just wanted to go on his show and just railroad him in classic Sherman fashion. But when they came out and first you saw the headline, Sherman joined Undisputed, I was like, oh shit, this is. If he thought that Shannon Sharp was not going to want to acquiesce, like, what is he doing with Richard Sherman? Like, there's not a more opinionated person in the last 15 years in the NFL than Richard Sherman. He scared the shit out of Aaron Andrews when they beat the Niners in that post game press conference.
She's still scared of him.
Yeah, she's still scared of him. But when they came out and said, yeah, he's going to do 50 to 100 shows.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay, first of all, there's 260 episodes of Undisputed a year.
Right.
So we're either talking about a third or we're talking like 25% or less than 25%.
Yeah.
And how do you go from 50 to 100? Like, who is deciding? Is he doing 50, 60, 75, 80, 90 to 100? So to me, I think it was a headline grab to let everybody know Skip Bayless with his Crypt Keeper ass is still going to somehow try to be relevant with his hot dumbass takes. That just, sucking off the Cowboys and hating LeBron James. Like, I don't know what else it is you want from me to say about Skip Bayless. So he's going to still be on air.
Yep.
I don't know who the other people are going to be. Like you said, it actually sounds more like what First Take was even before Stephen A. Smith, because Skip Bayless did First Take with Woody something.
I know what you're talking about. The
He's from Denver.
older guy.
Crazy ass guy.
Yeah.
Just off the wall. Like, if he didn't take his meds, you knew he didn't take his meds. And then he left and he went back to whatever ESPN's Price is Right show is, where they do all the point totaling. And then they started doing like a bunch of like random people.
Yeah.
And then they settled on Stephen A. Smith. So it sounds like Skip's kind of going to go back to that because he doesn't want maybe another person to challenge him. He doesn't want an equal. Skip just wants to railroad people. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Skip. Jeez.
I heard that another person that FS1 is targeting is Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh my God.
Which I don't know how that would work.
All right, you get Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman, and Warren Sapp. And they would just beat the shit out of Skip Bayless.
They just kill him. Like, sooner or later, they'd kill him.
You say one thing. If any one of those three were on the show when Hamlin's bitch ass fell out, it would have been anarchy the next week. The next day.
That would have been it.
Shannon Sharp was reserved.
Yeah.
By not coming. Save Skip's life by not coming on the show.
He knew. Do not go in that studio.
Left his dumb white ass out there just to talk the show by himself. So yeah, Keyshawn Johnson, do it.
Yeah,
oh my God,
that'll be interesting.
Get you some. Put Chris Carter back on FS1. Let's bring all the old hats back.
June, do you have any thoughts on Richard Sherman making appearances on the show?
Well, I think, you look at it, and it's a brilliant move to put another guy like Shannon Sharp on, because Shannon Sharp was such a major presence on that show that you got to have somebody that's just as big and just as alive on that show, or it's really going to be just Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless talking over everybody. Now you got to have somebody that can match Shannon Sharp energy, and I think that Richard Sherman is the perfect guy to take over that spot, because number one, he is a football IQ guy. The guy is sharp as a whip when it comes to football. So he knows football, and so I think he'll be a good match, and he knows other sports too. I think he'll be a great match for Skip Bayless. And it sounds like with the doing 50 to 100 shows, what it sounds like to me is like he's only going to be doing football. Is that what the case may be?
Yeah,
probably like the big hitters, maybe from mainly the football season.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know he really knows anything about baseball.
Yeah.
Beats me.
I just think, listen, the greatest thing ever is that at least Shannon Sharp had respect for the man. Like, Richard Sherman went on his show and said, "You've never accomplished anything."
That was the old Richard.
It's the same
said,
Richard.
I'm better at life than you.
Yeah, he said he's better at life than you, and you've never accomplished anything. It's the same Sherman. He's just lost 2 Super Bowls since then, but it's the same Sherman.
Try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
So I'm looking forward to it. Get your popcorn ready.
Yeah.
It is.
I do think, as far as like energy and like that personality, they probably couldn't have found a better match there.
Right.
It's just gonna be interesting if he is gonna be on just for football. What are they gonna do come February, like once the NBA kicks in? But
I'm just glad they didn't try to move like Emmanuel Acho.
Oh,
that would not
Yeah.
go well.
That man, I mean, that show speak. Jesus,
That's an interesting one.
what are we doing?
G Money, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. So, as we all know, Sherm has no respect for Skip whatsoever. None.
None.
I don't think he's going to be. I really don't think that he is going to go along with, hey, you have to take this position. I think if any of you, and probably you don't, but if you all remember the Saturday Night Live from like the mid to late 70s with Chevy Chase and Jane Curtin, where they
wasn't
did
even born
point,
then.
counterpoint, I can see Sherm doing that, going, Skip, you ignorant slut. The fuck do you know? Who did you suck to get this job? I can just see him doing that. The
They're
other
gonna have
thing
to have the drop
that I had
button ready,
heard,
is what
and I
you're
don't know
saying.
how true this is, but they were in talks with Lil Wayne to do some Fridays, and
God.
yeah, I thought to myself, well, that's kind of out of the box. Now, if you all have heard any of the interviews that Lil Wayne has done in the past, this man is highly intelligent, and I can see him sitting down and basically schooling Skip again. I mean, Skip doesn't know what he's in for with Sherman, and if they do have Lil Wayne doing some spot episodes on Fridays, he'll beg to have that show changed.
Yeah, I mean, I read the same thing that Lil Wayne is supposed to have like a segment or two, like every Friday. How
Okay.
him and Skip became friends, I don't.
Yeah, I don't
know.
don't know how that happened, but I feel like that would just turn into just them both
I
sucking
mean,
each other off.
somebody's
'cause,
sister slept with one of them. for them to
right? I
be
don't know.
friends. What are we
That's true.
doing?
What do you think about
No,
Sherm?
it's the same thing. Like I said, like I remember their feud from a few years back. So this should be interesting. We're gonna see a lot of memes, a lot of videos coming out, shorts coming out of that. So it should be really interesting.
All right, moving on. Alvin Kamara will be suspended for the first 3 games after his little fight he had last year, or being involved in a fight. Yeah, what do you guys think about the NFL handing down 3 games for Kamara? Because I feel like he made out pretty well, if you ask me. 3 games. I mean, Saints aren't doing anything anyway.
Yeah.
Or we kidding, but
That's pretty good, but he's not
Yeah.
gonna be on my fantasy team. I can tell you that much.
You know he's still gonna end up drafting him.
I'm not making the same mistake I made last year. So no,
It's gonna be like round 7. He's like, ooh. Got a
I need a
sleeper.
running back. Kamara, you're it.
no way.
G Money.
Yeah, I think it was light. I mean, the man pleaded no contest, paid $100,000 to the guy that he put in the hospital, and he gets 3 games. It's like, wait a minute. This guy put a man in the hospital and pleaded no contest to the charges and paid him $100,000, and you're going to suspend him for 3 games. And there are other players out there that have done less, and you're suspending them for 6 or more games. It makes no sense to me. No sense.
Hey, some people are just betting on the game and being out a year. Henry Ruggs III gets to kill a girl and his dog, and he gets 3 years in prison.
Right.
So,
That's,
I mean, maybe if you get
right.
3 years for killing somebody in prison, you get
Right.
3 games for putting
punching
somebody in the
somebody,
hospital.
Right, yeah.
I don't know. The math does not math.
No,
It doesn't. I don't think either of these fit the crime. When we're suspending people at Calvin Ridley for a whole damn year.
little FanDuel action.
And now ESPN is coming out with their own sports betting
They are
company. Yeah.
interesting.
Which who is ESPN in bed with?
Yep.
Oh, that's right, the NFL.
Right.
But so yeah, I don't know. All these suspensions.
Sorry, just going on that. Is it going to be under their name, or are they doing like a
It's
separate?
ESPN plus bet or something is what it's going to be. So it's going to have the ESPN logo
It's
on.
still okay.
Yeah, they're like, Psh, MGM and Caesars ain't getting all this action. And at the same token, they announced it today, and DraftKings stock dropped 9%
Wow.
just today alone,
Yeah.
just by announcing that they're going to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is
That's how that
itself its
works.
own news story.
Yeah, I think it was like 10 years ago. You could get fired if you mentioned the point spread.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could do it on TV.
Now you're like
really.
getting a whole.
Yeah.
And now they have a whole segment. They have a whole betting
Right.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, shit.
That just feels like ESPN trying to. They know they gotta do something drastic because they've been doing really bad as of late. So like, fuck it. Let's go with some sports.
They're gonna have Mickey Mouse in the back
Right, exactly.
setting up the lines
Right.
with
The
the little
mouse and-
with the little white visor with the clear
The
green
bingo cap.
with the clear hanging out some poolside in Florida. Gotta get some money somehow.
Junebug, what'd you think about Kamara's suspension?
Well, you know me. Of course, I'm a Cowboys fan,
Right.
and so I go back to when Zeke got suspended
That's
for
right.
6 games.
Oh damn!
For less, for less, and I'm like, okay, this guy actually, look what he did compared to what Zeke did, and I'm like, he only got 3 games and Zeke got 6. I'm like, what was that running back that got suspended basically forever for punching his wife in the
That was Ray Rice.
Yeah.
Ray Rice? Okay,
Ray Rice,
Look
yeah.
at what Kamara did was closer to what Ray Rice
Right.
did. So it's kind of like, what is Goodell doing? I still don't think Goodell actually has a handle on suspensions. I still think he's lacking that department and handing down punishments in the NFL players. And if I'm some of these players and I'm the players union, I'm looking at this like, we need to go back to the drawing board, and Roger Goodell really needs to go back to the drawing board and look over his policies again, because it's just too inconsistent for me. It's very inconsistent. So
Yeah, I think that's been one of his biggest knocks against him, is that when it comes to handing down punishments, it's kind of, one, it's late always, and then 2, it's all over the place. I feel like it's very kind of the more polarizing stuff. They'll hand out the suspensions more heavy, because Ray Rice hitting his wife or Zeke getting into some kind of domestic dispute with his lady is not, or is more polarizing than Alvin Kamara getting into a bar fight with another dude. That's kind of like, who cares?
I think the video of him dragging his wife out of the elevator, with
Right.
Ray Rice,
Right.
like some Flintstone shit, like he just hit her over the head with a club. I think that's a little more polarizing.
Yeah, and I feel like, however that balances, that's more of what the NFL and Roger Goodell's looking at is just the reaction and how it's perceived, the perception of it.
I just don't even think that Roger Goodell really knows what the NFL owners want him to do when it comes to suspensions.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants him to be heavy-handed with suspensions until it's their player. They're like, hey, hold up, man. All right, let's go easy. It's not like Kamara out here showing his belly button like Zeke. We can ease off a few games. They just, I kind of feel like the NFL gives mixed signals about what they care. The NFL cares about what the media cares about.
Exactly.
If the media don't give a shit that Alvin Kamara got into a bar fight with somebody, he's not going to get a lot of games.
Right.
But if Zeke does something, oh shit.
Yeah.
You jumped into too many Salvation Army buckets, man. You played for the Star.
Yeah.
You're getting some games. Ray Rice, you clubbing your girl,
Right.
dragging her out elevator. You're never coming back.
Yeah.
Betting on football.
Oh,
Bitch,
yes.
bye.
Right.
You like marijuana?
Right.
Sorry about your luck, but you ain't playing no more. But we'll give you some amphetamines though. we'll get you hooked on painkillers. Fuck concussions. So it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever society cares about, they're
Right.
like, we care too.
Yeah. Because the Camara thing wasn't that big of a story. Like the average person didn't really hear too much about this. But if we go back to last year before, Deshaun Watson, everybody was seeing how many games he's gonna get. Like everybody was just waiting to see what was Goodell gonna do, and obviously he got a pretty heavy suspension. But in comparison, it just kind of goes to show where it's like very picky and choosy. But anyway, moving out of football, let's get into the fact that the U.S. women's team gets knocked out in the round of 16 to Sweden. Nestor, let's start with you first here. JT, what's up, man?
Got a few things.
I
I
was
got a
about to say,
few
who the
things on
hell
this.
is
I looked
that?
up. I thought I was going to see Nestor. I saw JT.
We're,
I think I got.
we're like the
Push down
gremlins.
to
You
the
just
bottom.
pouring water on us.
Go ahead, Nestor. I'm sorry. JT, we'll come around to you.
You guys can't see me, right?
We
Not
can
yet.
still
We
hear
will.
you.
Yeah,
But go ahead. Go
We
ahead.
can hear you though.
All right, that's fine. I have a few things to say about this. I think it's appropriate, number one, that they got equal pay for equal performance now because they got eliminated in the first round, just as the men. So now everything is equal,
Same performance.
right? I think when Rapinoe was asked the highlight of her career, you would think that any athlete, they would just point back to, a big game or a big performance. She just jumped right into like the pay gap situation, which I don't know. I feel like it just shits on her entire team because after everything they did, all the championships, like they're pretty successful. Well, not anymore, but they were. I remember that game against Japan. I think it was in the final, last World Cup. That was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
And it kind of again shits on like players like Carly Lloyd, who they put the team first and winning first. So I think we need to stop trying to, I don't know, make other people feel guilty about things that it just doesn't correspond to them, or you gotta agree with my beliefs because I'm right, and if you don't agree, then you're just a bigot or you're ignorant. It just economy doesn't work like that. Like it's based on revenue. I don't know what to tell you. Just get more people to watch. Especially women. Women want to watch the Kardashians. They don't want to watch women's soccer. My wife doesn't want to watch the Colombian national team play.
There he is.
I'm trying to get her to watch it. She's like, I don't care. I hope they lose. That's what she says.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. I don't know what
she's
to do.
not American.
So
What do you want?
No, he's talking about
I
the
think-
Colombian team.
Oh, the Colombian team.
Yeah.
she was talking about the Colombian national team.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't even the
God
American
damn.
team.
He's like, what's
But
Chloe
I don't
doing?
know. I'm not gonna say I'm glad it happened, but it just kind of makes a statement now, because the other European teams, like not the other European teams, but the European teams are focused on winning. Like Sweden, they're focused on winning, and they're gonna keep beating the U.S. if the U.S. is focused on other things that it's not the sport or it's not ball. Yeah.
Well, Malin, would you like to go next?
Sure. I agree with Nestor that the moment that you start making your sports persona more than the sport that you play, you are going to become polarizing.
Right.
Okay. People shit on LeBron James all the time, but they never shit on Michael Jordan. due in part, Michael Jordan stayed away from all that stuff. Okay, LeBron James very in it. But when you look at like the women's team this year, I mean, they scored 3 goals against Vietnam when they were supposed to win. The line was 6.5.
Wow.
So they won 3-0 when the line was 6.5. Then you do 2 straight draws. Okay, you got 3 goals in the group stage. Then you go to the knockout round. Now they played a really great match against Sweden. They were very close to actually winning that game. Well, maybe not winning it, but scoring a goal. I think it was in the 58th minute. Why they took Alex Morgan out and put Rapinoe in, and Rapinoe overran 2 shots on goal that she could have had before you get the penalty kicks. Where it really just drives the nail in the coffin of this team, what's going to make them more polarizing, is that they had at least I'm thinking now, because I watched it live, like 7-something in the morning. I'm watching it live. They had at least 2 chances to win it in penalty kicks and missed it both times. Rapinoe was one of them. And then you got Rapinoe walking back, and she's laughing, smiling. Maybe the irony of it, probably with the understanding of people about to drag me through the coals for missing this. Like, I don't think that Rapinoe didn't care. Like, that's kind of the narrative that's been happening. Is people are like, well, Rapinoe just doesn't care. I'm like, okay, first of all, her legacy would be that much greater if she was a part of a squad that won 3 World Cups in a row. So to say that now it may have been a little bit self-serving motivation, because I do think she's a little bit about causes more than team at some points, like Nestor says.
Yeah.
But her legacy would have been so much better if they'd have found a way to win this cup. And I think that the weight of the world was on her shoulders when she had the opportunity to win it. And she had been money in penalty kicks in World Cups past, but she played terrible in this World Cup. And then she missed it. I think reality set in. She was like, yep, I'm about to have some hot coals in my ass because they're about to drag me through some shit. I even heard a report that her and Alex Morgan came to blows in the locker room because Alex Morgan was pissed off about her smiling and laughing after she missed that penalty kick, because Morgan was taken out. She couldn't be a part of that. Yeah. Because they put Rapinoe in there.
Right.
And so I don't know. You had, 12 or 14 new players that had never played in the World Cup before. So it's not like it's like a seasoned veteran team like what they had.
Yeah.
But you just expected more.
Absolutely.
You expected more.
Yeah.
Especially like the commercials they came out with. Like, the only way you're going to beat us is if you go back in past and kill us as kids. Pretty much is what the commercials were. That was like, I was like, God damn.
Like, if somebody went back in time, huh?
That is American hubris at its best. Where's Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's ass? Send him back there, hit somebody with a DeLorean. But I was just like, man, that's Americans being full of ourselves.
Yeah.
Of anything. The whole rest of the world is that scared of us.
Right.
You got to invent time travel if you're going to beat us. And then we get
that hasn't been just a quick little insert. That hasn't been the only delusion. Like, Rapinoe said that Sue Bird had the best athletic career of all time.
Of all time, yes.
Of all time.
Yeah,
like all athletes of all time.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah, but you know, Sue Bird's her wife. She's gonna say that, right? I mean, Sue Bird is her wife, so she's gonna say that. I mean, you say things about your spouse, whether they're true or not.
Right.
What she should have said was she's probably had the best career of any woman basketball player, and that would have been more accurate.
Man, I can name 1,000.
Man, you can't even name 5 women's basketball players, Nestor. Shut up.
Not basketball players, but any other sport.
Oh, women's athletes.
Well, I mean, she won what? 3 WNBA titles, 2
Here we go.
college titles. God, I don't know what, 3, 4 gold medals. I mean, it's hard to even if you look at
Top
the
10.
U.S.
Top
men's
10.
basketball team, it's hard to find a player that achieves the same. But as far as women go, who would you look at? Maybe you start looking at maybe track and field, or maybe swimming. But then swimming, you're looking at straight at national titles and gold medals.
Swimming has been taken over by the men now.
Archery.
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 We got the 247th ranked male is the number one ranked female swimmer now.
Yeah.
Junebuck is like, I'm getting off, man. I'm already a Cowboys fan. I can't be associated with that crap.
Just screw Serena Williams and everything she's
But
done.
anyways, we got JT on here now too.
Yeah, JT, can you hear us all right? I think you're still on mute. If you want to just say what's up, man.
I looked up thinking I was going to hear Nestor talk, and I was like, Nestor looks different.
That's that Saratoga son.
That threw me off.
Saratoga. I don't think we can hear JT.
Nope.
No, we cannot
Can't hear him.
Going on.
Okay,
Hey,
there
there
it
it
is.
is.
There he is. There he is. Thank you for joining us. This is your second time on the show. I mean, you know us. We're just nothing but nonsense. But we did our AFC North predictions a little while ago. We are going to kind of revisit it in the second half. So you'll have your chance to speak on that. But we've got some more stuff coming on. Before we get to our halftime break, though, we have got to. There was a few fights this last week. This is just one of them. But
This is the best one.
This Guardians and White Sox brawl that broke out. We have got to take a little look here.
Oh, you got the video?
Yes. Now,
This is the greatest thing in the world, people.
the
about to
people
break
at
this
home
down.
can see this. You guys here on Discord won't.
Okay.
But
It
if
is.
You just want to look up on YouTube or whatever. But if we just take a little look here on what happened.
I mean, he slaps him right in the head and the butt. He's like, hey, butthead. And then, okay, so right there, you got a problem. Right there.
We'll come back
Because
here.
because Anderson, why when he got poked in the hand, why did he go into a southpaw stance? He's not left-handed. I know he's not left-handed because his glove was on his left hand, but then he went into a southpaw stance and he tripped. He like stumbled before he even got hit.
Right.
And he looked like he had some good blows. He was throwing over the head of Ramirez because Ramirez is he got clocked. I mean, just dropped on that video.
That right hook.
It was
Just
thing
hit
of
him
beauty.
Just right.
Just. And the fact that he tried to come back on the field, even though his ass had to get helped off the field. Like, he had to get carried by two people, basically. And it's like, nah, I don't even know what happened, man. What is that? Is the fight over? Is the fight over? Did he kick me? Goddamn octopus out here. Like Kevin Hart. He's like, I'm going to defeat this man half. And then he went on social media. Did you see what he said on social media?
No, I did not.
The social media was basically like, oh, we going to come back, but watch out. You know, on the comeback. And I'm like, dude, not only did you get your ass knocked out, but you got 3 more games
Right.
than Ramirez.
Right. That was the irony of it. Like,
And then he comes back and gets hit by a pitch. On the next game back, gets drilled by a pitch. He's not having a good week. Not good
And it
for
wasn't.
Anderson.
I mean, it wasn't like a. What is it like when Jose Batista got punched in the face? It wasn't like one of those punches. It was kind of like a windmill.
Right.
Like, yeah,
He- he-
Ramirez
just swinging.
cannot act like he meant to do
Right,
that. He was
yeah.
just throwing haymakers like Paul out there.
I don't think you
just
saw what he. I think he
Yeah.
had his head down and just
Yep.
it swung.
Yeah.
Didn't
he was
even-
just
didn't
flailing.
even know what he hit when he hit it. But again, man, when you look at the video, Anderson has a glove on his left hand.
Yeah.
And then he takes the glove off and he puts himself in the southpaw stance where he has to jab with his dominant hand. What? This is why athletes need to stick to their sport. You end up just looking stupid.
If you're gonna cross over, do some golf.
And with the little
heard,
stumble, I was like, you got shook before you got hit.
I heard Jake Paul wants him in a boxing match.
Probably does.
That's next.
There's going to be stipulation that Anderson has to fight Southpaw too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan Paul won't fight anybody that actually is a boxer. They'd be like, hey, yeah, they're like, hey, we got an MMA fighter that is a striker. He wants to fight you. Nah, pass. We got a science teacher that says you a bitch. That's my guy. We going 4-0. About to be a champ.
Oh man. All right. I think that will do it for the first half. Junebug, are you gonna be sticking around for the second half, or are we saying goodbye?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, I'm in.
Cool. Yeah. JT, are you also sticking around for the second half?
I can't stick around for the whole entire second half, but y'all got me for the next 30 minutes.
Okay.
Nice. I just want to point out one more thing about this Anderson thing. Is that the Guardians had the best troll job I've ever seen on social media. Because they took the whole Muhammad Ali Frazier thing with the down goes Frazier. They put up a clip that said down goes Anderson. I was like, God damn.
They are proud.
I've just never seen a baseball player take a hit like that. Like, I've seen Nolan Ryan put people in headlocks and punch them in the face.
Yeah.
I've seen the one that Nestor was talking, but I've never seen someone just lose their life out of their body with a hit on a baseball field like he did.
It's pretty funny.
And he was tripping after. You couldn't
Yeah. You need some help.
Someone should have took his cell phone away too. Don't let that man tweet what he was tweeting.
I mean, I like the
Somebody
announcers
intervene.
when they're saying, and they're holding him back. No, they're holding him up.
Yeah, they're holding him up.
That man got clocked, and he doesn't know where he's at. Like, they're not holding him back, man. If they let him go, he's going back down on the ground again.
When they did a close up of him walking him back to the bench, man, or the dugout, and he's like, I don't even know what happened. Am I even a baseball player? Where's Sue Bird? I'm gonna dunk on her ass. You just, it's crazy.
God.
All right, we're gonna go to halftime. We'll have a kind of a shorter halftime just for time purposes because we also started late today. So, yeah, we're gonna go halftime. We'll be back in probably like 5 minutes or so. So when we come back, we have community comments and what's up with that. So we will see you in just a few minutes.
Hey. Yeah. Hey. On my way to the boat like I ain't just had on the coat when I landed, out branded. Perched at the edge of the branches. They don't wanna talk mansions, mine look like a campus. And I'm all about my brothers like the niggas I'm sampling. I'll leave you red shirted like the twins from Kansas. Really living my dreams I used to have in my aunt's crib.
This is the first time the Heat have made the finals since LeBron left.
Jesus Christ!
True.
What the fuck?
Nobody wants to guess.
Is it Kyle Lowry?
If Kyle Lowry's number
Do I get the point?
Yeah, I'll give you the point.
I guess two of them. Do I not get points for that shit too? Can I just make a complaint?
How many times have these two teams played each other in the regular season?
Once.
Is incorrect.
No.
Three.
Twice. You already guessed.
Shut up.
Twice.
What was your guess? 3. That is incorrect.
Twice.
2.
G Money, any guesses?
I already said it.
We don't know if that's correct.
Well, I mean,
It is correct.
G Money, try 5. Why this man have the most amount of points to complain about?
How is it taking that fucking long?
You missed their first question because you answered too fast. Not thinking.
He's stupid.
That's pretty hurtful.
First of all, this is the last time we're ever doing trivia. I don't give a damn what happens.
Hey, yeah. I just call a beta, get a hyphy.
Incredible, general.
I just got the label just to sign me. Me and Chase connected like we signed me.
who do you guys think is going to win the AFC North in 2023? Now, I think that this division is going to come down to an absolute foot race between Cincinnati and Baltimore. No disrespect to Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I think they both have solid teams. This division, though, is just really, really tough, and it always is, but this year I think it's going to be extremely tough because Cincinnati and Baltimore are going to be so good. Both of these teams are going to be fantastic. You got Joe Burrow with the arsenal of weapons that he has. Lamar Jackson's got a huge chip on his shoulder. He's coming back healthy. He's got some new weapons at his disposal as well. I've got the Bengals winning the division at 14-3. However, the Ravens are going to be right behind them at 13-4. And obviously both teams are going to be making the playoffs, so not much of a problem there. But, officially who's winning the division, I do think it'll be Cincinnati. But the Ravens will be right on their heels and be making some noise in the playoffs regardless. But anyway, who do you guys think is winning the AFC North this year?
So which NBA team has had the best offseason? It's definitely not my Miami Heat. If your best accomplishment is keeping Tyler Hero, then you know you're in trouble. But teams with the best offseason so far, Celtics, bringing in Porzingis, I think he's going to make that offense flow a lot better. I think people are sleeping on OKC. I think they are rebuilding well. They still have SGA, a solid roster, and they're adding a Serbian EuroLeague star, Vasilic. But let me know in the comments which NBA team you think has had the best offseason.
Which quarterback and receiver duo is going to be the deadliest duo in the NFL this upcoming season? Do you think it's going to be Tua and Hill or Tua and Waddle? Do you think it'll be Hurts and Devontae Smith? Do you think it'll be Cousins and Jefferson, Burrow and Chase? Do you think it will be Trey Lance or Brock Purdy with Deebo Samuel? Do you think it'll be Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs? Or do you think it'll be a bit more of like a wild card, Jared Goff and Amon St. Brown? Hearing a bit about Aaron Rodgers and Wilson, Lamar Jackson and Trey Flowers. That's the duo that I personally want to see succeed the most. I think those two could be absolutely filthy. Who do I think it's actually going to be? Not just who I want to see. I'm thinking it's going to be the year of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase light it up in Cincinnati. But who do you think is going to be the deadliest duo this year in the NFL? Comment below.
I got the Eagles 13-4. They come out of the gate on fire. They win their first 7 games. Of course, they're not really playing anybody in the first 7 games.
That's insulting.
But they're going to win all of them. Commanders, week 8 is where they get upset by the Commanders because they get too cocky, like they did last year. And then, I got them beating Dallas. And then after the bye week, they only go 5-3 because they lose to the Chiefs at Kansas City, where once again they can whine and cry about the turf and how bad the turf is and how they weren't prepared and it's this Kansas City's fault. I got them beating the Bills at home and then losing to the 49ers, beating the Cowboys in Dallas, and then losing to my Seahawks in Seattle because once again they'll whine and cry about the turf. Because it's all about the turf, not their inability to play. And then they win out the last 3 games because they're playing the Giants and the Cardinals. You put those 2 teams together, and maybe you've got a halfway decent team.
Boise State.
Remember to follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AFR Sports. That's it, AFR Sports. Now back to the show with your hosts Jalen, Shaquille, and Malin.
And we are back. Skipping the music this week. A little too involved. Just keep it simple. Hope you guys had a good halftime break. We are, almost all of us are back. G-Money's probably on his way.
Where'd G-Money go?
I'm not sure. But in the meantime, I did want to give it a chance to formally introduce. So Junebug Spade is here. Junebug, we had mentioned one of your TikTok comments several weeks ago. And
Gold.
We were like, we got to get a hold of this man.
So
gold. It's a pleasure to have you on, good sir. If you want to plug your TikTok for people to follow you, please go right ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me, Junebug, or Tar Heel since '73. I do a lot of Cowboys content, but I also do a lot of NFL predictions. I lived in Vegas for 10 years, so throughout the season,
snap.
I will be doing NFL. I will be doing some handicapping of some games. I'll pick some of the better games of the week, or some of the worst games of the week, and I will handicap them. And from the time I lived in Vegas, I learned from some of the best out there.
This man is. Yeah, first of all, like we love Vegas. We go to Vegas all the time. I've been to Vegas twice in like 2.5 months. You want to know when you're a degenerate gambler? When you're going to gamble on like the Thursday night football games. And that is exactly what this man is talking about. He's like, listen, man, I'll give you the spread on the worst games. Because you got to get the itch. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
Not everybody can stomach watching Stroud and Lawrence fumble all over the goddamn field on a Thursday night. I mean, maybe the Jaguars are going to be better this year, but it used to be every Thursday night. Whenever those two teams would be on,
oh man,
I'd be like, why do we not have a G League for football when we got these two squads? But this man, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm going to tell you something. A couple of years ago, I think it was the Texans and the Browns, and they both were bad. And let me tell you, I took the over in that game. I took the over, and then I took the point spread. And let me tell you, that game did not disappoint. And it's one of the best. Two bad teams are one of the best games to bet on because you're going to make money on them. You should make money on them, especially if you bet the over.
When Ride or Die 5 comes back, that's our betting segment. Once the season starts, best believe. We got to have you back on.
Oh, yeah, you got to be on it.
It'll be a wonderful Ride or Die in 5.
Right.
I mean, someone has to give us a competition.
Yeah. JT, this is your second time on the show for folks that are not aware. JT's got a fantastic YouTube channel. You want to plug your channel, my man?
Yeah, you guys can go ahead and subscribe to JT Sports. We go live every day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We talk everything American football. I know football gets loosely thrown out there with, soccer going on and whatnot. So American football, we're talking college football, NFL, NFL draft, into the XFL, man. Y'all remember Tavon Austin?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The West Virginia version, not the NFL version.
Oh, not the Ram version.
Not the Ram version.
Oh, he is. Interesting.
Oh, not the St. Louis Ram version, though. They called him Concussion Austin. Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah. I knew him as Concussion Austin. That little man always hitting his head on every goddamn thing.
Let's get into my favorite segment of this damn show, community comments. This is where we take some of the stuff that we've been talking about this past week on social media and see what what you guys at home have been saying. So let me pull up.
Is this your favorite because other people take our takes and say you're full of shit?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, this should be really good.
And then I take it personally.
Yeah.
This is where he fell in love with Junebug, by the way. It was in the social. I was like, this man's gold. Man, coming out here swinging haymakers like Ramirez.
So let's start. Let's start with who's winning the AFC North. So Junebug was here saying that Cincinnati's going to win. Carolyn Love says Cincinnati and they're not my team. He's trying to show he's not biased. Justice saying the Ravens. Brady is saying Bengals win it, but all of the other teams could win it if just a few things go right for them. Paul says, I don't even have a guess. It can.
What the?
I don't have a guess.
Paul, why are you writing, Paul?
Thanks, Paul.
I hate indecisive people.
Why did you even click let me comment?
I have a guess, but I'm going to comment anyway.
God, okay, first of all, we need to figure out where he's from, and he shouldn't be able to vote for the next president. Like, you should not be able to vote.
You may not live here. Hopefully.
Jesus.
Nestor, did I comment on that?
Nestor says,
yeah, Nestor always does.
Nestor takes a page out of Paul's book here. Could it be the Bengals or Baltimore, but Steelers and the Browns too.
Nestor did that shit on purpose because he knows I get riled up when people name one or two. When they name more than one team that's going to win something.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Jesus Lord.
Michael, his name is Michael, in quotes, Kanye's version. I don't know what that means, but Steelers all the way.
Who said
Michael.
that?
That was Michael.
Michael.
Kanye's version of Michael. And then my favorite, Big Jug Lover, says Lamar gets injured again. Browns O-line gets injured again. Pinkett, like Jada Pinkett, throws for 12 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Bengals run smooth, easy. Jesus.
Okay, so I like him.
Damn.
I mean, what a guy.
I like that because you know we're gonna call Pinkett now. And Will Smith is gonna come in here and slap the shit out of somebody. Give my name out of your motherfucking mouth. If you haven't seen that Kevin Hart special, you need to. It's funny and shit. But no, Nestor, God, why are you trying to get me stressed out?
I want to hear from JT since we didn't get to hear his takes on the division the first half. How do you see this division turning out, JT?
I don't think he has Steelers going fourth.
And I got the Ravens at number 1. I think a lot of people forget the fact that before Lamar Jackson went down with those injuries last 2 years, the Ravens either had the 1 or the 2 seed, and he won 70% of his games as a starter. A loss record is not a quarterback stat, but it does kind of indicate if you got a great QB, you're going to have a higher chance at winning the games that he starts in. And the Ravens finally did something that many people been asking them to do for years, which was get rid of Greg Roman. And now people are questioning it. Feel me? It's like, oh, Lamar Jackson was held back as a passer, so they get rid of Greg Roman, who sucks when it comes to passing concepts. That's why he got fired from Buffalo and the 49ers. You bring in Todd Monken. This isn't just a college coordinator. He was the OC for the Browns. The 1 year they had Freddie Kitchens, even though he didn't call the plays. And he called plays Derek Cutter's final season with Tampa Bay, which they had the number 1 passing offense with Ryan Fitzmagic and Jameis Winston. And that was the year that Ryan Fitzpatrick actually had the Fitzmagic nickname really come into fruition because, you know, he was going off. He was an MVP candidate like a couple of games into the season until the magic ran out. So you finally give Lamar offensive coordinator that's going to elevate him as a passer. You got some great receivers. Even if OBJ gets hurt, you got tons of depth. You got Nelson Aguilar, who's been making a lot of plays in camp. Nelson Aguilar is one of those players that he's really inconsistent. You know, like depending on where he lands, and depending on how he performs, you know, you could get a really good version, the one you got when he was playing good in Philadelphia for one season, or you get one where he drops a lot of passes. Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, they call him joystick. So I think the Ravens probably have the best record, not just in the North, but in the AFC. I think they go 14-2. I got the Bengals at number 2. I think they're going to go 12-5. Joe Burrow, once again, like he's going to be missing out on, you know, the off-season program, training camp. So I think the Bengals are kind of one of those teams that just starts a little slow, but they bring back both their coordinators from last year. And they still got a really talented roster. I think they finally addressed the offensive line. Orlando Brown. We'll see how right tackle plays out. They got Lael Collins. Jonah Williams is probably the favorite to win that job because Lael Collins is on PUP. And I think the offensive line is the only thing that's keeping Joe Burrow back from winning a Super Bowl. Like, nobody even thought they were going to beat the Bills last year. You feel me? So that was kind of a surprise. I think the Steelers finish in 3rd place and the Browns come in 4th. I just don't see it working in Cleveland. You got questions about their ability to stop the run, and that's a big red flag to me. The AFC North has nothing but teams that are good at running the football, and if you don't really have good depth on your interior defensive line or good talent there, you're not really going to last in this division. The Bengals have a good defensive line. Ravens got a good defensive line. Steelers have the best defensive line in the division, and the Browns have the worst. And plus, we don't know how Deshaun Watson is going to look. Is he even a fit? And Kevin Stefanski's offense, his offense is predicated on bootlegs, you know. And I don't really think Deshaun Watson really fits his kind of offense. And, you know, I just think the Browns, I don't think they're going to be like a bad team. They definitely could be like an 8-7 win team, maybe 9. But the Steelers got Mike Tomlin. He's the common denominator that the rest of these teams don't have. You know, with Mike Tomlin, you're at least going to have a 9-8 record, and the team that normally has the better coach with just as good as a roster normally ends up being the better team. So I got to go with the Steelers in that situation over the Browns.
I really like that take. I have the Browns also being in last, and then the Steelers 3rd, and then the Ravens being in second place, but just a game behind the Bengals, who I think will win the division. But yeah, as far as who picked the Steelers last,
I did.
there we go.
I did.
Thank you for stepping forward.
There you go. I got you.
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the AFC North stuff there. Yeah, let's go into the next video here, which was, so I posed the question of who do you guys think is going to be the deadliest duo in the NFL this year? And I mean by quarterback wide receiver duo. So some of the answers that we got here were Junebug said Dak and CD. A little bit of home cooking there, but all right, fair enough.
A little bit.
I got some points on it. I got some points.
Some more home cooking here with Nestor, Tua, and Tyreek. God. Brody says Stafford and Cub.
Isn't Cub hurt now?
Yes, I don't know why.
And Stafford's been hurt for a year. That's fine.
Pickett and Pickens.
What's that, JT?
It was not. Someone else is Dak and CD or Cooks.
What? No one has said Burrow or Chase yet?
That was my pick.
Yeah.
Tua with Hill and Waddle.
That's not a duo.
They kind of
Learn freaking math.
Indecisive
Well, it is because Tua's going to be hurt, so it'll be probably Waddle throwing to Hill.
Stop manifesting Tua getting hurt.
We don't have to manifest it. Just check the Mayan calendar. They predicted that shit that Tua's going to get hurt this year.
You know, there's going to be a new duo that takes over as number one.
He's going to say Lawrence and Ridley.
Whoever.
You going to say Lawrence and Ridley?
Who said Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence?
Damn right.
Oh.
Ridley and Lawrence.
Need
Yes.
$100 deposited to your big account, fam.
Lawrence and Ridley.
That is the correct answer.
Okay.
I can totally see that would have been my number 2 guess. It would have been my number 2.
So mine, like I said, was Burrow and Chase. My second though was Lamar and Zay Flowers. I think if Zay is as good as they're seeing right now, I think that's going to be deadly too. But the Lawrence and Ridley thing, I want to see some new duos kind of coming. Like, you know, we're used to Kirk and Jefferson, obviously now Tua and Tyreek. Say that again.
Hey, if you listen to a current player or former player who played the receiver position, even if Calvin Ridley isn't as, they bring him up. When you ask any wide receiver to name their top 5 receivers, a lot of them say Calvin Ridley. I was listening to I Am Athlete with Brandon Marshall. He did an episode with Devontae Adams, and he said it's a tie for number 5 between Stephon Diggs and Calvin Ridley. And Brandon Marshall was surprised. And James Jones said the same thing on Colin Cowherd's show. Like, he's a great route runner, has great size, great after the catch, and you pair him up with a Trevor Lawrence.
There's definitely a lot of height with Jacksonville's offense with Ridley.
Yeah.
With Lawrence being able to take that step forward with Peterson, right? Peterson's the coach?
Yeah.
Used to be
Dougie P.
Yeah, Dougie P. I mean, hell, if you could win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Yeah, no.
Now you got Sunshine. They got Etienne's healthy, and they made the playoffs last year. There's a lot of hype with the Ridley Lawrence, especially because there's a lot of people thinking that Lawrence is going to take that step forward, possibly even supplanting like Herbert, like in front of him.
Right.
So, and he's going to need someone like Ridley if he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Nobody said Garrett Wilson and Rodgers. Nobody said Olave and
I don't think so.
No Goff and Amon St. Brown.
No. That was actually not a bad one either. But Rodgers is already angry.
Tannehill and D-Hop.
Oh, there you
Tannehill and D-Hop.
Okay, he got jokes.
I always forget Ryan Tannehill's even a quarterback.
I'll give you another one, a good rookie duo, DJ Stroud and Tank Dell.
Okay. Yeah, you're high on Tank. So, you know, if you're onto something.
In camp so far, he's been pretty much their best receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, Houston's. I mean, or not Houston. Sorry. Carolina's going to be interesting, for sure.
The fact that we had multiple people say Prescott and Lamb, though.
Hey, Lamb is good. Lamb, I like Lamb.
If you
Out of the
look
last-
at,
Good to eat. Yeah, I love some good lamb.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you look at how CD has evolved, and you look at they took away his number, they took away his protection and sent him off, a few years ago. So they had to bring somebody back, and CD had to step into that number one receiver role. So now you bring in a guy like Brandon Cooks, who's always a top 5 receiver.
Till he gets
No matter what,
concussion.
he's a top 5 receiver. And then you bring Gallup back, who's now he should be healthy after having a year, after coming back, having that down year last year. He's going to come back. So now the field now opens up for CD. The field is going to be open for him to run and do what he wants, because you're not going to be able to double team him like you did in certain situations. San Francisco, D'Amico Ryan knew how to beat Dallas, and he beat him for 2 straight years. He knew to take away CD in certain points of the game. And now you got Brandon Cooks in the mix. Now you got a healthy Gallup. And of course you got Pollard coming out the backfield. So now I can see CD. I can see this definitely 100 catches this season and maybe 1,600 yards.
Shit.
Whew. See, like I hear everything that you're saying.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I got to keep in the lens that you're a Dallas fan, because when I hear you talking, I can hear myself trying to convince other people that, Seattle is going to go to the Super Bowl this year with Geno Smith and DK Metcalf and Lockett and Smith-Jonna.
Right.
It's going to happen. I know. Well, JT thinks it's going to happen. He thinks we're going to lose to Cincy. He wants me to be happy about that. That we're going to lose.
That's a high honor.
But I mean, I see it, and I see the talent of Lamb. Dak,
Old Dakota.
He just scares me.
Oh yes.
Like
What scares you?
Inconsistency.
Yeah.
Whether you're
Well,
hurt or
consistent,
not,
though.
over the last few years, he's just inconsistent. He can't win the big. He's not clutch.
No.
Can't win the big game.
Right.
Cooper Rush was more clutch last year than DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf played 4 to 5 less games than any other starting quarterback in the NFL. Still led the league in interceptions. The what?
Sorry, you said the DK Metcalf?
Oh no, Prescott played 4 to 5 less games than any other starting quarterback in the NFL. Led the league in interceptions.
Right.
I just think
But you got to remember, he did have the thumb injury. He did have a broken thumb, so that has. I'm not making an excuse for it, because I was not happy with the interceptions. Trust me, he was not playing like Dak Prescott. He was playing like Dakota Rain Prescott. Okay.
Dang.
But he did have a thumb. That the thumb injury did have something to do with that. The grip on the ball was not the same, and so
yeah,
that's my take on it. And we had Kellen Moore too. So.
All right. Real quick before we move on, who do you think is going to be the best duo G Money as far as quarterback receiver goes?
I was going to go Burrow and Chase. If Burrow is out for 4 or 5 games, I'm not sure about that. I could easily see Tua is going to get injured. Tua is going to get knocked out probably in the 3rd or 4th game. I mean, I hate to say that, because he could be a really good quarterback, but the man weighs like 125 pounds.
All right.
I mean, someone's going to knock his running back into him, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. I am going to be a homer on this.
Oh.
I'm going to say Geno and Tyler Lockett. I tend to think that people don't give them enough respect, and they don't think about them. It's like, oh yeah, Tyler Lockett. Well, Tyler Lockett is like Doug Baldwin with speed. If you had watched Baldwin in his prime and the catches he made, and you look at Tyler Lockett and the catches that he made, they're very similar. I mean, it's like you can put the ball in a spot and you think that the DB has got it, has intercepted it, or it's not going to be caught, and Tyler Lockett catches it. And I think with the addition of the kid from Ohio State, and if our running backs get healthy and stay healthy, we're going to have a dynamic offense. I mean, the 2 tackles we got last year, the guard we got out of LSU this year, even though right now the center looks like it's going to be Evan Brown, but the kid we got out of Michigan is playing fairly well too, and we'll see how he does tomorrow night when they start him.
See, sounds just like Junebug.
You know,
It does.
Yeah.
with that offense that we can run,
I respect a good homer.
Yeah, you
I've got no
see
problem
Tyler
with it.
getting easily 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns.
The only thing that could make me kind of agree with the fact that Tyler Lockett can be in there is that the last 4 years, any quarterback throwing the Tyler Lockett, whether it's Russell Wilson or Geno Smith last year, has had over 125 passer rating when throwing the ball to him. And he had a near perfect passer rating back in 2021. It was last year with Russell Wilson. And I think it was 142 with Geno Smith last year.
Wow.
So, like, he's money.
Yeah.
When he doesn't drop it.
Yeah,
he's not lazy.
He's 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns every.
So
You said every
he might
4
be
years, so.
might be little, might be bald. But he can catch the ball.
JT, how you doing on time?
10 more minutes.
All right. We'll make the last piece of news quick, and then we'll start.
Oh, yeah.
With what's up with that. So, so Nestor asked the question, who had the best offseason in the NBA? And Nestor kind of basically posed that the Celtics did first, and that OKC was also, they were all right. But the Heat, if the best thing that the Heat did was to keep Tyler Hero so far, then they don't have too much to write home about. But the people at home, they're saying, Randy's saying that the Cavs had a good offseason, the best offseason. Bryce said that the Mavs had the best offseason. And Gifts said that the Lakers had the best offseason.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, at least they were decisive.
Yeah, they were word answers. They were very clear.
All wrong. But you get kudos for trying.
I kind of agree with Bryce with Dallas, because they brought in a flurry of just solid players to put around Kyrie and Luka, and basically are almost saying, Luka and Kyrie, you better get it together, because not that they have a bunch of superstars or even all-stars around them, but they do have some pretty solid role players now with getting Grant Williams. Seth Curry's there now. Exum is there now. Those are defensive, offensive weapons that know their roles really, really well, and I think that's exactly what Dallas needs. And if Kyrie and Luka can just figure it out, whatever that looks like, I think Dallas did the best that they possibly could do.
Yeah, but
is
Kyrie still number 2 in the puzzle?
I don't know.
Okay. Does he still believe the Earth is flat?
Probably.
That's a problem. So that's why I can't think it's Dallas. You're holding on to Kyrie.
I feel that.
Anyone that holds on to Kyrie,
yeah.
like holding on to a girl, like holding her hand, and she's cheating on you, but you're gonna do it anyway.
Just holding on for some optimistic reason.
Bury your head in the sand. That's Dallas.
Do you guys have any leading teams for your best NBA offseason? You guys, you don't have that.
Honestly, this NBA season was just kind of mediocre, and I see Boston probably as the best, coming out of it. I live up here in the DC area, and everybody was high on what the Wizards did. They made a couple of moves this off season, but Dallas did okay. Golden State, Golden State's always going to be in that mix.
Yeah.
So and I do like OKC. You mentioned OKC. I did like a couple of moves they made. So
Golden State did get Chris Paul, right?
They did.
Didn't they sign Draymond Green?
Yeah,
they re-signed Green.
Still kind of.
I thought they re-signed Green.
Oh, they did.
I thought they did. I mean, probably going to be the next one to punch. It's going to be Paul. Paul, start with a P. I think actually the team that had the best offseason didn't even trade a single player. I think it's Portland Trailblazers. You kept your name in everybody's mouth with this Dame Lillard crap, and just reminding the rest of the NBA that they're still a team in Portland. So you did nothing.
Free advertising.
But you still didn't lose any assets.
Right.
You're still there. You just reminded everybody that you're there. I think that's a good move.
They just kind of taunted him.
Even though Nestor hates it because he wants Dame bad.
Nestor thought this deal was done 2 months ago.
Yeah. Dame would leave his wife right now if he could get Dame Lillard. And he literally gave up his citizenship in Tampa because he lives in Sarasota now.
Nestor Sarasota citizenship.
To marry this guy.
Oh man.
All right, let's move on before we unpack more of Nestor's personal life.
There ain't much to unpack, man. Look at that room. It's all white. He's like in a damn jail cell.
Let's get into what's up with that. This is where we air out our grievances in the world of sports in the last week. JT, let's start with you. What is your what's up with that this week?
Yeah, man. What's up with all this down conference realignment? It's funny because at first I was one of those people that's like, man, you traditionalists need to chill out, man. There ain't nothing wrong with a little change, man. College football can't be the same way that it was in 1926 and 1957 and 1988 that it is in 2023. But with the death of the Pac-12 pretty much looming, Stanford and Cal pretty much just got denied membership into the ACC. But they probably are going to be headed towards the Mountain West because I don't think nobody else in the Power 5 is going to take them. I just kind of hate what happened to the Pac-12, man. Larry Scott kind of ran that conference into the ground. They could have had Texas and OU before the SEC. You feel me? Didn't go through with that. Didn't want to give up the Pac-12 network and let ESPN have it. Just a lot of people in the room who weren't really the most knowledgeable about football. Larry Scott is more of a Olympic sport kind of guy. Tennis, golf, sports that don't generate a lot of revenue. He put more focus on versus, your big money getter in football. So Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, they're in the Big Ten, and the majority of the rest of the Big 12 schools, the Four Corner schools, Colorado, Arizona State, and them, now are in the Big 12, so I'm a little bit disappointed because, the Pac-12, I did enjoy watching it throughout my childhood, and I enjoy watching football after 12 a.m.
Well, that's exactly why the Pac-12 was circling the drain for a while. Is if that's like, it's midnight, I can't sleep, fuck Monday work, we got UCLA and Arizona playing. But when you look at the demise of the Pac-12, it's not just this year, and it's not just USC and UCLA leaving. I think JT hit it on the head with Larry Scott and the hubris that the Pac-12 had, where they kept calling themselves the Conference of Champions, because they win championships at every other damn sport. Pickleball, they probably got a trophy for it. Rowing got the trophy. Gymnastics, maybe. I don't know. Them LSU girls are bad. But all the sports that know, badminton, fencing, we got you. Water polo will knock you out. Okay. when it comes to like men's basketball, even women's basketball, men's baseball, when Oregon State has best baseball program in your conference, shut up. Like they just didn't care. The last team to win a national title in football was USC. And I'm pretty sure that one got stripped because of Reggie Bush. Okay. So what ends up happening is while everybody else is showing record viewership, okay, SEC, highest viewership since 2018, ACC, highest viewership since 2019, Big 12, highest viewership since 2013, Big 10, higher viewership since 2011, and then you got the Pac-12, second lowest viewership in the history of the Pac-12.
Damn.
Why? Because JT just said it. Everyone's fucking asleep when we're playing.
Right.
So, I mean, it was, yes, money, greed, but the Pac-12 had this hubris about them that they were above everybody else because we have academic standards. Who gives a shit about academic standards when you're playing football? So, I don't know. I do think that I think Stanford's going to go independent. I don't think they'll load themselves to play in the Mountain West. Cal might just fold all their athletics because they've never really cared about them.
Yeah.
They might as well. I mean, the best thing they ever did was Aaron Rodgers, and that has been like just hell on earth for the rest of us. I'm like, that's like releasing the devil on the earth. Like, thank you for producing Aaron Rodgers. In Oregon State and Washington State, they're going to be in the Mountain West, and they're going to go from making $27 million a year to $5 to $8 million a year.
Wow.
And G Money and I were talking that Washington State Cougars football team coaches alone have almost a $5 million budget, or not budget, but that's how much their salaries are.
Wow.
I'm like, so, and schools like Washington State and Oregon State, they can't get rid of any more programs. They're already at the limit of sports that you have to remain at Division 1A. So they might actually end up being in the FCS, because I don't think that with the stadium renovations that Oregon State did, the facility renovations that WSU did the last couple of years, you're talking both of those programs. Washington State has over $100 million in debt that they owe the state. Oregon State has over $85 to $87 million in debt that they owe the state. They're not going to have the money.
Yeah.
So they might get relegated to the FCS, and that really sucks for them.
Yeah.
I do think that Washington State and Oregon State can find a way to survive in the Mountain West Conference, and here's why. The college football playoffs got expanded to 12 teams, and a G5 school has to be included. They're going to give the G5 bid to the highest ranked Group of 5 conference champion, right? You put Washington State, Oregon State, especially Oregon State. Donovan Smith has that program in a really good spot right now. They're on their way up. Let's say next year Oregon State wins 10 games, right? They get into the college football playoffs in the Mountain West as a G5 school. That's additional revenue because you get a revenue split anytime your school participates in the college football playoffs. So I think the path for Oregon State getting into the college football playoffs in Washington becomes a lot easier. And plus, they can still find a way to be a national brand because they are miles ahead of the rest of the Mountain West Conference, and they're not your typical G5 school. They're pretty much a former Power 5 school that just got delegated to a G5 school. So I feel like Oregon State, Washington State may find a way. Well, Oregon State, more so than Washington State, can find a way to stay a little bit relevant in this. Washington State, I probably would agree with you, but I don't know if they were, fall off that bad. I do feel like there's a chance that the Big Ten may open their arms because they are rivals with Oregon and Washington. So maybe, they could find a way to get them in there.
Now, the Big Ten is already talking about possibly kicking out some of these lesser schools at their next TV contract.
Let me ask you about this.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Because you sound really well-versed in this. So somebody told me that Washington State and Oregon State can't get membership into the Big Ten because something about they're not AAU schools or something like that.
I don't know about them being AAU schools, but they don't have any market that the Big Ten needs, because with Washington, they get the Seattle market, which is a majority of what, even though Washington State's in Spokane, a majority of their viewership is in the Seattle area, but they're already going to get the Seattle market. And the same with Oregon. They're already going to get Portland. Corvallis is not necessarily Oregon State. The problem is that Oregon State and Washington State are schools that were lucky enough to jump into the Pac-8, Pac-10, whatever, 100 years ago. Idaho was an original member of the Pac, the Pacifics, and they fell off a great number of years ago. And Oregon State and Washington State have been able to hold on, but they're already being a Power 5 school. They're not able to get the recruits to hang with Washington. Washington and Washington State rivalry is the second largest disparity between in-state rivals outside of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Like, it's so one-sided. Like, Washington State wins maybe once out of every 10 years. And when you take the revenue hit that they're going to take, going from $27 million to possibly $5 million in Mountain West, is Jonathan Smith going to want to stay at Oregon State? Does he want to stay at a Mountain West? Is he going to be able to get a raise? Is Washington State going to be able to keep their coaching staff? Are they going to be able to get the talent? You know, are you going to only be able to get the Mountain West type of talent recruit?
Yeah.
So maybe they'll be the top dog for the first couple of years in the Mountain West, but when you got Oregon and Washington, and you got USC and UCLA getting the Power 5 recruits, what do schools like Oregon State, Washington State, Stanford, and Cal really do? Like, they're so regionalized on where they are in the country that there's not really another fit for them. But the money just doesn't make sense in the Mountain West. But there's no other lifeboat. There's nothing.
I mean, the only thing you have in the Mountain West is UNLV, because they got the Raider Stadium now. And that's all you have. That's the biggest draw in the Mountain West, is UNLV and the Raider Stadium. That's it.
Feel about Oregon State and Washington State making a move for the ACC? You think the ACC takes them? I know they don't want Cal and Stanford, but you know, Oregon State has pretty good athletics, and Washington State, I mean, they're not a top tier program, but they're a program that's capable of being able to give you consistent 7, 6 win, maybe an 8 win, 9 win season here or there.
I mean, maybe, but then at the end of the day, what's the ACC going to be if Clemson, Florida State, and Miami bolt the next couple of years?
Check me out. This is what's keeping them from leaving. So apparently, them redoing their television deal, the ACC owns something called a grant of rights. Pretty much will keep FSU and Clemson from leaving, because trust me, if they didn't have that, they would have already been in the SEC. Like, Florida State's fighting to get out the ACC, and the ACC is like, nah. So this is kind of the ACC's chance to try to add some power to, you know, try to make it a little bit more manageable, so they can go ahead and redo the TV contract whenever that comes up and gets more, you know, try to get more revenue.
I guess it would just come down to money, because if the money that ACC schools are getting is close to what the Pac-12 schools were getting, which the Pac-12 is getting about $27 million. You got to think about the budgets that Oregon State and Washington State have, which is already less than most of the other schools. Do they have the money to budget that type of travel for all the sports? Because keep in mind, like I said, they can't get rid of any of them. They're already on the threshold, so they can't get rid of any. So you're not just sending football and basketball down there, or baseball.
Right.
You're sending gymnastics. You're sending all the little Olympic sports down there.
Right.
I mean, they're going to do whatever they have to do to try to survive.
Yeah.
And it's a really sucky position to be a Power 5 school that had absolutely no leverage. But they had over 100 years to build the leverage, and they didn't do it. Yeah. And it just sucks that Oregon State now.
They had the last 15 years to advance and expand, and they did neither. They looked at the landscape, and they basically said, we are the Pac-12. we don't need to change. And when Texas wanted to join, and everybody knows if Texas joined, Oklahoma would have followed them. And we said, no, we're starting the Pac-12. We have the Pac-12 network. You cannot have your own network. And we don't want you. And as Malin stated, you know, the hubris of the Pac-12, and not just Larry Scott. I mean, it was also the presidents and the regents of those schools, because he doesn't act in a bubble. You know, he takes things to them and says, this is what I think, this is what we should do. And they either say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And they all thought, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, so you didn't grow. You stayed stagnant. You thought the Pac-12 network was everything, and it was really not much of anything. You walked away from money that ESPN was offering you because you didn't think it was enough. And then you act surprised when USC and UCLA left. And at that point, you could have grown. You could have added San Diego State, which would have added that LA market and the San Diego market. And you could have added Fresno State, actually, if you'd wanted to. Granted, they were two smaller schools, but you would have still had those markets. And you said, no, we're the Pac-12. Well, no, you're the Pac-10. Now you're the Pac-8. Now you're the Pac-4. Now you're not anything.
Yeah.
And it kind of, some of you may remember this, when the Big East, when they became a football power, and then they didn't like, I think it was like 2000, I want to say 2014, 2015, when they were looking at a new TV deal. ESPN offered them like $165 million. The Big East said, no, that's not enough. When the commissioner took it to the presidents and the regents of the Big East, they said, no, we think we can do better than that. Because they had seen what the Big Ten had signed for, and they're like, we're better than them. Well, in basketball, yes, you are, but football, as we all know, is king, and that's the money generator. And in football, they were not. And all of a sudden, when they turned that deal down and they couldn't get another even comparable deal, you saw Miami leaving, you saw Virginia Tech leaving, and then once those two left, you saw West Virginia, you see everybody just leaving, like en masse, basically. And then the Big East became what it was before that, a basketball conference, you know, with Villanova, with UConn,
Marquette,
with Georgetown, Marquette. Yeah, you know, they just weren't the football power, and they could not generate the money that they were as a football power. And teams left. And so it's not the first time this has happened. And let's not forget the Southwest Conference, when Texas and Oklahoma left for the Big Eight. That killed that conference. That conference died right then and there when they left.
Texas and Oklahoma, a couple bitches.
So this is nothing new. And they left the Big Eight for more money. So it's nothing new. I'm sad. I'm angry about it because I'm a big Pac-12 fan, big Husky fan. But at the end of the day, I don't put all the blame on the current commissioner. I don't put all the blame on the previous commissioner. I put it where it belongs, on the presidents and the chancellors of the schools that had the final say, yes or no, we're going to do this or we're not going to do that. And because of that, you've got 4 schools, actually 3, Washington State, Oregon State, and Cal, because Stanford can do pretty much what it wants. It can go independent if it wants and find a better deal down the road, because I know they look at their Olympic sports more so than they do at their basketball and football, even though both programs have given us pro athletes and first round picks and a Hall of Famer in John Elway. Actually, if you look at Stanford, if Andrew Luck hadn't have got injured and said, I'm not playing for the Colts anymore. He could have been a Hall of Famer too. And Jim Plunkett, who landed up, not doing so well at the Patriots, but then winning a Super Bowl with the Raiders. Stanford is not going to go to the Mountain West. Stanford may look at the Big 12, not going to go to the Big 10. The ACC was a reach for Stanford and Cal. I mean, it didn't make a lot of sense. And I saw the ACC doing like the Big East did when they started to fold. Before they actually folded, they reached out to Boise State, and they were going to bring Boise State in. And if you recall, that was after Boise State had gone to the Fiesta Bowl twice.
Mm-hmm.
And so it looked like a real good deal for both the ACC and Boise State, right? Boise State gets exposure. The ACC brings in a team that's onto the Fiesta Bowl twice, And so they're like, okay, this will work. And then it didn't work because teams started leaving. Once Miami and Virginia Tech left, that was it. And other teams started saying, hey, we need to look out for ourselves. And that's what we saw in the Pac-12. USC and UCLA left last year. And, there were overtures from Oregon and Washington, the Big 10, and even to the Big 12. They were thinking about, well, we need to look out. If this TV deal that's supposed to be in the works and supposed to be really good, if it's not that good, we need to look out for ourselves. And that's what happened. The Apple deal gave them a little over $20 million, maybe. And it just wasn't that good. Now, I'll tell you what, streaming is what's going to happen 5 to 10 years from now. A lot of the games that we're used to watching on regular TV or on cable TV, they're going to be streamed. Because your next contract that the conferences are going to sign, ESPN, Fox, they're not going to be able to afford those because they're going to be wanting $6, $7, $8 billion. And I guarantee you the ESPN and Fox, and definitely not the networks, are going to have that type of money. You're going to be looking at it on Amazon or on Apple TV. But you're not going to see it on regular TV. So if you want to watch, Michigan, Ohio State, you're going to have to pay for the streaming service and watch it on one of those. But that's going to be 5, 10 years down the road.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it just kind of sucks we won't have the traditions. But
yeah.
Yes, it does. But
it does. Well,
we'll
move on.
That's
We'll be better.
These next few years are gonna be kind of weird for sure.
Yeah.
The adjustment.
Yeah, they will. After this season, next year when you start looking at the Big Ten, and my thought is, at some point the Big Ten is going to have to split into divisions again. They're going to have to do basically a West Coast, maybe a Central, and then an East. If they don't drop teams like Rutgers and maybe Illinois because they're not all that good and they haven't been, or Nebraska, which has been a huge disappointment, joined the Big Ten.
Yeah. JT, do you need to go now, or are you gonna finish out the last bit here?
I gotta go, but I appreciate you guys for having me on.
For
I
sure.
definitely want to come on again. This was a very good conversation, even though my feelings are hurt. RP to the Pac-12, man. It's like, hey, man, like you guys don't know how much I love the ability to, watch football from noon to 3 a.m. I was up at 3 a.m. watching Oregon State and Washington State, dog. And then I can go to sleep and 8 hours later do it again with the NFL. So it's
He's
now
like
you
the-
telling me I got to watch either the Big Sky Conference or the Mountain West? No, thank you.
Even though Oregon State and Washington State are going to be in the Mountain West.
It's not the same.
Man,
He's
listen,
like,
it's the
y'all help my
difference when
insomnia.
Oregon and Washington State are playing against Oregon and Washington late at night versus seeing them playing
Yeah.
against who? UNLV?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Chip Killer
I
is always
appreciate
good
you
for a
guys
laugh
having
at
me
midnight,
on,
too.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take it easy, JT.
Yeah, we will see you next
All right,
time,
JT.
man.
Yeah.
Again, folks, hit him below so if you want to check him out and be sure to do that. Yeah, that's JT. So let's move on to the next person's what's up with that. Do you want to G Money? What's your what's up with that?
Nope, that was it.
Oh, okay.
It was,
I was
the whole
kinda
demise
guessing
of the
that.
Pac-12.
Gotcha.
So we'll just move on.
All right. I was really hoping that JT was still going to be here for this one, but I'll just do mine real quick. So Adam Pac-Man Jones, who's been on the Pat McAfee show kind of as of late, he gave a list of his top 5 corners in the NFL right now, and I'm just going to put his list on the screen here. So you guys tell me what you think about this. Now, you guys here on Discord, you won't be able to see it, but I will just read this off to you. So he has Patrick Surtain as number 1, Sauce Gardner as number 2, Marlon Humphrey at number 3, Jair Alexander at number 4, and then Darius Slay at number 5.
Interesting. You know who's not on that list?
Right.
Woolen.
Yeah.
Which I thought was I was like, but did he just blatantly forget about him? But somebody mentioned him, and he was like, no, I don't like him more than Slay. And he just kind of left it at that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know the last time that I really thought that Humphrey, Alexander, and Slay were like actually relevant.
Yeah, Jair Alexander. I'm
like Surtain and Sauce. I could definitely. Last year they were getting a lot of build.
Right.
I
also thought like J.C. Horn.
Yeah.
I like him than Jair Alexander.
That's weak.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just Pac-Man logic there.
It is Pac-Man. You want to know it's even weaker? I got a list that's even weaker than that.
Please.
Okay. You don't have time to put it up, and I'm just going to read it off for you guys. So, they asked George Pickens, the wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that everyone said, yeah, he's great. Well, might be great at catching the football. Evaluating talent, we'll see. Okay, so this is his top 5 wide receivers all time, going from 1 to 5. Okay. Now, the first 4, you're going to be like, okay, I could see it, but you're kind of stupid for putting one in front of the other. But number 5 is going to be a trip. Number 1, he has Calvin Johnson. Okay. Right off the bat, number 1.
All right.
Detroit Lion.
Maybe was he born in Detroit?
He was not. Number 2 was Randy Moss.
Okay.
Okay. Noticeably, still no Super Bowl so far.
Right.
Number 3, finally we get Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice comes in at number 3. Okay. So we got Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. Number 4, Julio Jones. This man just loves him some Madden. That's what he loves. He loves him some mid 2000s, early teen 2000s Madden. He's looking at them EA ratings. But here is where Pickens, I'm worried about the mental health. Okay. If I named you those 4, who would be your number 5, Jalen?
I don't know.
I mean, just name one.
Up, but
maybe Terrell Owens.
Yeah, you could put T.
Someone
Tito's
that high.
probably the best.
I mean, you still got Chad Johnson, right?
If you want to say
Steve Largent, all them people, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This man went Michael Crabtree as number 5.
Oh my God! Seriously,
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
When I was looking at it, I was like, "Well, that's not stupid having Jerry Rice being 3." And then I was like, "Wait, who's number 5?" And I looked at it and I was like, "Son of a bitch! This man has a brain aneurysm." I was like, "You could, Des Bryant,
no Mark Clayton."
You couldn't put Des Bryant. Could put Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Andre Reed.
Yeah.
We ain't got none of them cats.
Yeah.
We got.
Wow.
Come on.
Mark Cooper. No.
Yeah. Shoot.
Oh man,
Jerry,
yeah. I mean,
Jerry Rice's backup
if
John
you were to
or
say-
John Taylor was better than him.
That's a couple people now.
He's
who
not even
have-
the fifth best wide receiver in San Francisco 49er history.
I mean,
Yeah.
Isaac Bruce, Torrey
No.
Hill.
Wow.
I mean, if you just went wideouts in San Francisco, there's 5 more that are better than him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easily.
Right. Yeah.
I'd even put J.J. Stokes ahead of him.
This is another case like Justin Fields when his top 5 running quarterbacks list. I don't know.
I think
don't
this is
know
why
what's
they're
going on.
asking these questions.
Yeah.
I think this is why they're like, Fields, you did that dumb shit. So now we're gonna ask everybody. Everybody's gonna give a dumbass answer.
Right.
It is almost like Pickens panicked. He's like, Crabtree. Got it. I was like, God.
Oh my
grasping
God.
for the name. That was the first name that came to mind.
Yeah.
Only one of them played in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's Jerry Rice.
That's
This is a Madden kid right there.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh goodness.
God.
Nestor, do you have a what's up with that this week?
You know what? I know Waddle got a little injury in camp. But you know what? It's gonna be okay. He's gonna play week 1. I'm still optimistic about this team. Ramsey's gonna be back before we know it. Everything's gonna be good. So I have no issues, no griefs, no what's up with that. Everything is going well. It's starting to burn.
Right.
But you know what?
Blink 2 times if you're safe. I'm getting scared at this point.
I just gotta do a quick mention because I do watch Messi play. The way they were down, what is it, 4-2? They were down 3-1, and then they scored a goal. They got all happy, and then there was an own goal, and then they went down 4-2. I was like, it's over. Like, this man cannot carry this team. They're so bad, but then he did it somehow. He tied the game. They won the penalties.
Messi's
they won.
played.
So,
Messi's
man,
played 5 games and has more points than
You know-
anybody else on the team. He's only played 5 games, 5 matches.
Let's be honest. He's playing in the MSL. The MSL is like
MLS.
Division 2 football in England. I mean, I guarantee you, I could take my team, which is a Division 1 team, a tier below the Premier League, and they could beat any MSL team there.
MLS.
Because MSL sucks. It
MLS.
sucks. I mean, the star right now, and Messi will probably end up being the leading goal scorer in the MSL.
MLS.
I mean, it's because the MSL should
G
be better
Money.
than what it is.
It is the ML.
It's not.
It's the
I don't care.
MLS, not the
It's the
MSL.
fucking nobody cares league. It's the NCL. Nobody cares league. Nobody.
God.
I didn't.
I
I didn't
mean-
even
I
think I've
mean-
ever heard anyone say MLS so many times, but G Money just literally said MSL like 9 times because he's so mad about it.
I'm just thinking about the bucket
terrible.
of money
You
this
know,
man
I mean,
must be
I
making.
mean,
Because
at the end of the season, Messi will probably have like 45 or 50 goals easily. I mean, he'll probably surpass the goals he scored with wasn't he with PSG?
when he was at Barca, he scored 91 goals in a calendar year, which is like the record. He passed Pelé, so he'll probably
Yeah,
pass.
I mean,
Well, if he has a whole calendar year with
I can
Miami,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know
I don't think
defense.
the MLS plays as many games as they do in the European leagues, but he will score 40 goals easily. I mean, he's a man playing with children.
Damn.
That's what he is.
Damn.
And you know, I mean, good for Miami. It makes them relevant. Good for the MLS because people are actually watching.
And good for his pockets because I bought a subscription for Apple TV just
You
because
bought
of him.
you bought a
There he
jersey,
is.
an Inter Milan
No,
jersey.
he's gonna make so
Yeah,
much money. It's crazy.
I mean, I think he made a good financial decision, really playing for Inter Miami, should I say? I mean, they've already got a vacation home there. He's going to get partial ownership in the team.
And Beckham's happy. He's making a lot of
Beckham
money.
should be happy.
All right.
Well,
Let's round this out. Junebug, do you have a what's up with that?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna go outside the norm, and I just want to talk about the state of boxing, man. After watching at the city, I'm glad I didn't pay for this. I'm glad I went to the bar, in my area that was showing the fight, because I would have been pissed off. What is this in boxing? I look at this now and I'm like, I'm a guy who grew up late 70s, early 80s, so I got to see the end of Muhammad Ali, going into Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes in between. I got to see the Hearns Hagler fight. I got to see the No Mas fight. And I'm looking at the state of boxing. I'm looking at and I'm looking at Jake Paul fight Nate Diaz. And Nate Diaz looked like he was high.
He ain't even a
In
boxer.
that fight. He's not even, and it was the most ridiculous clown car thing I've ever seen in my life. And so I'm just looking at where does boxing go? The women fights were much better than any. Some of a couple of the lesser fights were pretty good for the men. And the female fight right before the main event was really good. But other than that, the state of boxing, they got to do something. Because right now it's in flux, and I'm afraid in 10 years we're not going to have boxing anymore.
Well, the next big fight I think is Jake Paul versus Logan Paul.
Come on,
Two brothers. Even because I didn't watch those guys fight, but even thinking back, La Hoya and Tito when they were fighting, those are pretty good damn fights.
Yeah.
But
I
now
just
it's
miss
like
those
forever
days,
ago. That seems like really long ago, but it was not that long ago.
Right.
I just, I remember going to Vegas doing the Sugar Shane Mosley De La Hoya fight, and the buzz that was in the air that weekend. I hadn't moved there yet. I was just visiting, but me and my wife just wanted to be in that atmosphere, and it was such a great feeling. Like, oh my God, two champions. We about to be in Vegas. The money that was, the stars, the money that was being thrown around in that city that weekend. That's one of the reasons why I moved there, because I wanted to be just around that atmosphere, But now it's like, it was I lived in Dallas for 17 years. I still own houses in Dallas. Nobody wants to see a major fight in Dallas. You know what I mean? They had some of the local Dallas stars, like my little nephew was there. If you know who Yellow Beezy is, that's my nephew. He was sitting in the crowd. But other than that, come on now, this Dallas. Who cares? That's why I look at boxing now. Who cares now? It's sad. So.
I look at Nate Diaz in this picture. I don't know if you guys just go look at the Nate Diaz Logan Paul weigh-in. Now, first of all, I'm going to preface this.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate Diaz whooped my ass. Okay.
Yes.
Nate Diaz is a fighter. When I say a fighter, okay, I'll lose if you just restrict me to only using hands. But if you want to catch me out back in an alley and I can use everything with a dumpster and a glass bottle and everything else, I'll whoop your ass. But the pictures of Nate Diaz in the weigh-in against Logan Paul, I was like, what are we... Like, it almost looks like Nestor took his shirt off and he's up there about to fight Logan Paul. There is... You need to look at it, Nestor. And it's actually somewhat of a compliment because there's still a lot of definition in there. But there's like... I'm like, what is it? Where's the shoulder? What happened to his shoulder? There's no shoulder. They never should have been fighting.
Training shoulders tomorrow.
They never should have been fighting that fight.
Yeah.
He picks everybody he thinks he can beat.
Right.
I mean, that's really not even boxing. Let's be honest.
It's not.
It was sort of like when Merriweather fought McGregor, right? Not a fight. That's not boxing. It's not.
Yeah.
It really isn't. Hard pressed right now to even tell you who the heavyweight champion of the world is, because I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing. But you know, if you start looking at the middleweights and the lightweights, you know, that's where you want to look at. I mean, there's no one, the heavyweight, that you look at that you can. I can't name him. I can't name a single one.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
But you know, you've got Alvarez, you've got Charlo. You know, you got some boxers. You just have to, you know, look further down, and you've got some decent fights to watch. But that Paul, that's not a fight. That's not a boxing match. That's a freaking show.
Yeah,
and
that's a good way to put it.
And you shouldn't equate it to boxing. But you're right, though. Boxing has diminished a lot. I mean, as you said, I grew up and I watched the Ali Foreman, the Ali Frazier fights. I saw the Thriller in Manila. I saw the not live, mind you. I saw it on TV. I got to see the No Mas thing on TV. I was in Italy at the time. I got to see Tommy Hitman Hearns. I mean, these are names, you know, that when someone says them, you know exactly who they are, and you know what weight division they fought in. And Mike Tyson, oh my God, at 18, when you saw him fight, you watched every fight, because you knew that when Mike Tyson got in the ring, he was going to devastate that person. He was going to. It wasn't like, how many rounds is this person going to last? The bets were, how many seconds is this person going to last? And unfortunately with Tyson, he kind of went off got involved with the wrong people and got away from where he was at. It didn't help that his trainer died or anything like that, you know. But he could have been the greatest heavyweight fighter ever, because he had that ability, and he studied film.
Yeah.
I mean, he could sit down and talk to you about fighters of the past, heavyweights, middleweights, lightweights. He could talk to you about them and tell you what techniques they used. But then he got away from that, unfortunately. You know, when his trainer died and Don King took over, that was the end. I mean, Don King made a lot of money, but unfortunately for Mike Tyson, that ended. You know, he wasn't the same fighter as he was in his 18 to basically 22, 23 when he dominated the heavyweights. And everybody wanted to watch that fight. Everybody. And like I said, name a heavyweight champion. I can't. I cannot tell you who the heavyweight champion is for the WBA, WBC, IBF. I can't. I have no clue who it is.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, boxing isn't the same.
Right. And that's what's up with that for this week, folks.
We're angry.
Wait, there's a lot going on.
We are angry people.
Yes, we want to thank you all for tuning in. A big thank you to Junebug for taking the time out of your evening to come just talk a bunch of nonsense with us. You are always welcome back on the show, my friend. His TikTok will be linked down in the description below, so be sure to follow him there. But until next week, folks, everyone have a very good week, and we will talk to you all real soon.
Peace.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.